Right now, families are selling their Arizona homes at devastating losses just to escape alive. Retirees who saved their entire lives for desert peace are hearing gunfire through their bedroom walls. Seniors are being targeted in their homes by criminals who know they live alone. Property theft has become so rampant that police stop taking reports because nothing gets recovered anyway. And in one town, the situation got so bad that businesses are abandoning their leases mid-contract. These 10 Arizona towns saw crime explode so violently in 2025 that the statistics don't even capture the full horror. If you're thinking about Arizona, you need to see this list before you sign anything. At number 10 we have Tucson. This is Arizona's second largest city, home to the University of Arizona, a place that was supposed to be cultured and safe. But 2025 brought a property crime surge that blindsided everyone. Vehicle thefts hit levels never recorded before. Organized theft rings are operating with the confidence of legitimate businesses, and they are winning. The problem is Tucson's massive sprawl. Police cannot cover every neighborhood, and criminals have figured that out. Residential burglaries are spiking in areas that were considered completely safe. The foothills where homes have mountain views and price tags over $1 million are getting hit repeatedly. Midtown, the trendy heart of the city, is now a target zone for break-ins. The city sits close to the Mexican border, and that proximity has turned it into a pipeline for stolen goods moving south. Law enforcement is understaffed and overwhelmed. Downtown Tucson has become a hotspot for drug-related offenses, made worse by a growing homeless population that the city has no plan to manage. Officers are stretched so thin that response times have slowed to a crawl. Criminals know the police cannot respond quickly. They know which neighborhoods are vulnerable. They know when to strike. What used to be a retirement haven, where people felt comfortable leaving their doors unlocked, is now a place where you check your security cameras obsessively and never leave anything valuable in your driveway. The sense of safety is completely gone. Residents are angry and scared. Many are considering selling and leaving, but property values are dropping because buyers are researching the crime statistics before making offers. Insurance companies are raising rates. Some neighborhoods are becoming uninsurable for certain types of coverage. Tucson is not recovering from this. It is getting worse every month, and there is no clear plan to stop it. The vehicle theft problem is so bad that certain makes and models are being targeted daily. Kias and Hyundais are stolen within hours of being parked on the street. Catalytic converters are ripped off in grocery store parking lots while people shop. The thieves are not worried about cameras or witnesses. They operate in daylight because they know the chances of getting caught are almost zero. Local businesses are suffering too. Shoplifting and organized retail crime have forced some stores to lock up basic items or hire private security. The cost of doing business in Tucson has skyrocketed, and some retailers are questioning whether it is worth staying. When businesses leave, neighborhoods decline further. It becomes a cycle that feeds on itself and accelerates. The University of Arizona brings thousands of students to the city every year, and many of them are becoming victims. Bike thefts, car break-ins, and robberies near campus are routine now. Parents are reconsidering whether they want their children living in Tucson. The reputation of the city is taking a hit that will have long-term consequences for enrollment and economic growth. Law enforcement keeps asking for more funding, more officers, more resources. But the city budget is strained, and hiring new police takes time even when money is available. Meanwhile, the criminal networks are getting more organized, more efficient, and more brazen. They have learned the system, exploited its weaknesses, and built operations that function like corporations with supply chains and distribution networks. If you are thinking about moving to Tucson for the cost of living or the desert beauty, you need to weigh that against the very real possibility of having your car stolen, your home broken into, or your sense of security destroyed. This is not fear-mongering. This is what residents are living through right now, and it is not getting better. Coming in at number 9 is Phoenix, the state capital, the 5th largest city in the entire country, a booming metropolis that was attracting new residents by the thousands. But 2025 has brought a violent crime surge that is making national headlines. Aggravated assaults are up by double digits compared to last year. Carjackings are happening at shopping centers and traffic lights after dark. Phoenix covers 520 square miles of urban sprawl. That is a massive area for any police force to patrol, and the department is severely understaffed. Resources are stretched impossibly thin. Neighborhoods like Maryvale and South Phoenix have always struggled with gang activity. But now even wealthy areas like Arcadia are seeing home invasions. Criminals are targeting luxury properties for cash, jewelry, and high-end electronics. The violence is not just property crime anymore. Assaults are more brutal. Confrontations turn deadly faster. Criminals are more willing to use weapons, more aggressive when challenged, and less afraid of consequences. Phoenix used to feel like a sprawling suburb with big city benefits. Now it feels like a big city with all the danger that comes with it. Carjackings have become so common that police are issuing public warnings about where and when to avoid certain areas. Parking lots are danger zones after sunset. Red lights in certain neighborhoods mean you keep your doors locked and your windows up. People are changing their daily routines, avoiding entire sections of the city, and living with constant awareness of their surroundings. The sheer size of Phoenix works against residents. You cannot know which streets are safe and which are not without doing serious research. Even then, crime patterns shift quickly. A neighborhood that was fine 6 months ago might be a hotspot now. The unpredictability creates a baseline anxiety that never goes away. You are always wondering if today is the day something happens to you. Businesses are also feeling the impact. Retail stores are hiring armed security. Restaurants are closing early because staff do not feel safe leaving after dark. Commercial real estate is sitting vacant because companies do not want to locate in high-crime areas. The economic ripple effects are just beginning, and they will take years to play out fully. Phoenix police are doing what they can, but they are outgunned and outnumbered. Gang activity is spreading into areas that were never gang territory before. Turf wars are becoming more violent. Innocent people are getting caught in crossfire. The sense that Phoenix is spiraling out of control is not just a feeling anymore. The statistics back it up. If you are moving to Phoenix for a job or for the weather, you need to understand that you are also moving into a city where violent crime is surging faster than almost anywhere else in Arizona. You need to choose your neighborhood very carefully. You need to invest in serious home security, and you need to accept that the risk of becoming a victim is significantly higher than it was just 2 years ago. Many longtime Phoenix residents are leaving. They are selling their homes and moving to smaller towns or out of state entirely. The people replacing them are often unaware of how much the city has changed. They see the job opportunities and the sunshine, but they do not realize what they are walking into until it is too late. Phoenix is not going to fix this problem quickly. The crime surge is tied to larger issues like border security, drug trafficking, and economic inequality. Those are not problems that get solved with a few new police hires or a tougher prosecutor. This is a long-term crisis, and residents are living through the worst of it right now. At number 8, we have Yuma. This border town sits right on the line between Arizona and Mexico, and in 2025, that location became a nightmare. Human trafficking operations have turned Yuma into a flashpoint for smuggling-related violence. The crime is not contained to the border. It is bleeding into residential neighborhoods, schools, and daily life for families who just want peace. Yuma is an agricultural community, and farmers are hemorrhaging money. Thieves are stealing equipment, vehicles, and even crops right out of the fields. Millions of dollars in losses have been reported, and many farmers are questioning whether they can continue operating. The theft is organized, methodical, and clearly connected to larger criminal networks that see Yuma as easy pickings. Retail businesses are being destroyed by shoplifting and organized retail crime. Stores are reporting losses so severe that some are considering shutting down permanently. When you lose money every single day to theft, and law enforcement cannot stop it, at some point you have to cut your losses and leave. That is where many Yuma business owners are right now. The police force in Yuma is small, underfunded, and completely overwhelmed. They are trying to handle traditional crime while also dealing with border-related criminal activity that spills over constantly. Officers are working overtime, burning out, and leaving the force because the job has become impossible. The department cannot hire fast enough to replace them, so the problem compounds itself. Residents report feeling abandoned. They call police and wait hours for a response if anyone comes at all. They see criminals operating openly and facing no consequences. The sense of lawlessness is pervasive. People are arming themselves, forming neighborhood watch groups, and taking security into their own hands because they know they cannot rely on official protection. The human trafficking element adds a layer of darkness that most small towns never experience. Yuma is being used as a corridor for moving people across the border, and the violence associated with that trade is horrific. Kidnappings, assaults, and murders connected to trafficking operations are happening in a town that used to be known for farming and sunshine. Property crimes are through the roof. Home break-ins, vehicle thefts, and vandalism are daily occurrences. Residents are installing security systems, reinforcing doors and windows, and sleeping with weapons nearby. The cost of living in Yuma has gone up dramatically when you factor in all the security measures people feel forced to take. The agricultural economy that sustains Yuma is under direct threat. If farmers cannot operate profitably because of theft, they will sell their land and leave. If businesses cannot stay open because of retail crime, they will close. If families do not feel safe, they will move. Yuma is facing an existential crisis that could hollow out the entire community. Local government is trying to respond, but they are underfunded and outmatched. The problems Yuma faces are tied to federal border policy, international drug cartels, and economic forces way beyond the control of a small-town council. Residents feel helpless because the levers of power that could actually fix this are completely out of their reach. If you are considering Yuma because of affordable real estate or the agricultural lifestyle, you need to know that you would be moving into a community under siege. The crime is not just statistics. It is a daily reality that affects every part of life. You would be taking a serious risk with your safety and your property. At number 7, we have Glendale. This city was supposed to be the family-friendly alternative to Phoenix. Parents moved here specifically because it felt safer, quieter, and more suburban. But 2025 has shattered that reputation. Auto theft has exploded to the point where certain makes and models are virtually uninsurable in some zip codes. Thieves are stealing vehicles in broad daylight from parking lots and apartment complexes. The Westgate Entertainment District was the crown jewel of Glendale. It brought shopping, dining, and entertainment to the area and made the city a destination. But multiple shootings and assaults in 2025 have terrified visitors and driven businesses away. The district that was supposed to define Glendale's future is now a liability that people actively avoid. Catalytic converter theft has reached crisis levels. Repair shops are reporting months-long waits for replacement parts because demand is so high. The cost of replacing a stolen converter can be over $1,000, and for many residents, it has happened multiple times. Insurance companies are raising rates or dropping coverage entirely for vehicles that are frequent targets. Glendale police are struggling to keep up. The department is understaffed, and the types of crimes they are dealing with have become more sophisticated. Auto theft rings are not random teenagers joyriding. They are organized operations with specific targets, efficient methods, and connections to move stolen vehicles out of state or across the border before police can even file a report. Families who moved to Glendale for the schools and the safety are now questioning that decision. Parents do not want their teenagers driving cars that are prime theft targets. They do not want to take their kids to Westgate because they do not feel safe there anymore. The entire value proposition of Glendale as a family destination is collapsing. Property values are starting to reflect the crime surge. Homes are sitting on the market longer. Buyers are negotiating harder or walking away entirely when they research the crime statistics. Sellers are getting less than they expected, and in some cases less than they paid. The financial impact of the crime wave is hitting homeowners directly in their biggest asset. The psychological toll is just as damaging. Residents are stressed, anxious, and angry. They feel betrayed by a city government that promised safety and failed to deliver. They feel abandoned by police who cannot respond quickly enough. And they feel trapped because selling their home in this market means taking a loss that many cannot afford. Auto theft is not a victimless crime. It disrupts your life completely. You lose your transportation to work, to school, to medical appointments. You deal with insurance companies, police reports, and rental car expenses. And even if your vehicle is recovered, it is often damaged or stripped of valuable parts. The recovery process can take weeks or months. Glendale used to market itself as the safe alternative to Phoenix. That marketing message is now a joke. The crime statistics tell a story of a city that lost control, and the reputation damage will take years to repair even if the crime rate drops tomorrow. Perception matters in real estate, and Glendale's perception has been destroyed. If you were looking at Glendale as a place to raise a family, you need to seriously reconsider. The safety that drew people here is gone. The community feel has been replaced with suspicion and fear, and the financial risk of buying property in a city with surging crime is significant. Glendale is not the family haven it used to be. Coming in at number 6 is Mesa. Arizona's third largest city has seen a disturbing rise in methamphetamine-related crimes throughout 2020. The drug is fueling a wave of property offenses and violent encounters that have caught residents completely off guard. Home break-ins have surged in eastern Mesa neighborhoods, with criminals targeting homes during daytime hours when people are at work. The retail corridors along Main Street and Broadway have become magnets for theft, assault, and public disturbances. Business owners are dealing with shoplifting, vandalism, and aggressive behavior from people clearly under the influence of drugs. The atmosphere in these commercial areas has shifted from welcoming to threatening, and customers are staying away. Mesa police have reported a concerning trend. Criminals are becoming more brazen and aggressive during confrontations. They are more willing to fight, more likely to be armed, and less concerned about consequences. This has led to an increase in officer-involved incidents and created serious danger for innocent bystanders who happen to be nearby when situations escalate. The methamphetamine crisis is not just about drug use. It is about the cascade of criminal behavior that addiction creates. People need money to buy drugs, so they steal. They commit burglaries, rob stores, and strip copper from buildings. The drug destroys their judgment and impulse control, making them unpredictable and dangerous. Mesa is dealing with the full spectrum of meth-related chaos. Daytime break-ins are particularly unsettling for residents. You go to work assuming your home is secure, and you come back to find your door kicked in, and your belongings gone. The violation feels worse because it happened while you were just trying to live your normal life. The randomness of it creates a sense that nowhere is safe, and no precaution is enough. Eastern Mesa used to be one of the more desirable parts of the city. Quiet streets, good schools, and a suburban feel that appealed to families. But the crime surge has changed the character of these neighborhoods completely. For sale signs are popping up as people decide they cannot live with the constant threat anymore. The retail decline is creating a feedback loop. When businesses close because of crime, it leaves empty storefronts that attract more crime. When customers stop coming because they do not feel safe, businesses lose revenue and cannot afford security measures. The commercial heart of Mesa is dying, and that will have long-term economic consequences far beyond the immediate crime problem. Mesa is a large city with resources, but those resources are not enough to combat a meth epidemic. Treatment programs are underfunded. Police are overwhelmed. Social services cannot keep up with demand. The problem requires a coordinated response across multiple agencies and levels of government, and that coordination is not happening. So the crisis continues to grow. Residents are frustrated by the lack of visible progress. They see the same people committing crimes repeatedly. They watch criminals get arrested and released quickly. They feel like the justice system is failing to protect them. That frustration is turning into anger directed at elected officials, police leadership, and anyone seen as responsible for the deteriorating situation. If you are considering Mesa, you need to understand that the meth crisis is not going away quickly. This is a problem that will take years to address even with perfect policy and unlimited resources. In the meantime, residents are living with elevated crime, reduced safety, and declining property values. Mesa is not the stable, affordable option it appears to be on paper. At number 5, we have Tempe. The presence of Arizona State University should have made this city vibrant and safe, but 2025 has proven otherwise. Both students and permanent residents are falling victim to increasingly bold criminals, who see the college town as a target-rich environment. Bike thefts have reached absurd levels, but the violent robberies near campus and along Mill Avenue are far more concerning. Mill Avenue used to be the heart of Tempe's nightlife. Bars, restaurants, and shops created an energetic downtown scene that drew people from across the valley. But violent incidents have made people afraid to go there after dark. Assaults, robberies, and confrontations happen regularly now. The street that defined Tempe's identity is becoming a place residents actively avoid. Package theft has become so common that many residents have stopped ordering deliveries entirely. Porch pirates follow delivery trucks through neighborhoods and grab packages within minutes of them being dropped off. The problem is not just inconvenient. It is a constant reminder that criminals operate with impunity in Tempe, taking what they want with little fear of being caught. Car break-ins happen with such frequency that broken glass on the pavement is a common sight throughout the city. Apartment complexes and shopping center parking structures are prime hunting grounds. Thieves smash windows, grab whatever is visible, and move to the next vehicle. The damage often costs more to repair than the value of what was stolen. Arizona State brings over 70,000 students to Tempe every year. That population density creates opportunities for criminals. Students are often unaware of their surroundings, carry expensive electronics, and live in densely packed housing where security is minimal. They are easy targets, and criminals know it. The university environment that should feel safe has become a hunting ground. Parents are reconsidering whether they want their children attending Arizona State because of the crime in Tempe. Safety is a major factor in college choice, and word spreads quickly among families. If Tempe develops a reputation as a dangerous place for students, it will hurt enrollment and damage the local economy that depends heavily on the university. Permanent residents feel caught in the middle. They chose Tempe because of the university atmosphere, the cultural offerings, and the central location in the valley. But they did not sign up for constant property crime and the fear of violent encounters. Many are questioning whether they should stay or cut their losses and move to a safer community. The bike theft problem is almost comical in scale, if it were not so frustrating. Bikes locked with expensive locks are stolen daily. Campus bike racks are stripped clean overnight. Students lose their primary mode of transportation and cannot afford to replace it. The problem is pervasive enough that Arizona State has had to address it in orientation materials and campus safety communications. Tempe police are doing what they can, but they are dealing with a huge transient student population, a busy downtown corridor, and property crimes that are difficult to solve. The clearance rate for theft and burglary is extremely low. Most victims never get their property back and never see anyone held accountable. That sense of futility makes people stop reporting crimes altogether. If you are a prospective Arizona State student or a parent of one, you need to factor the crime situation in Tempe into your decision. This is not a safe college town anymore. It is a place where you need to be constantly vigilant, never leave anything valuable visible, and accept that theft and property crime are just part of living there now. At number 4, we have Flagstaff. This mountain town sits at 7,000 feet elevation, known for its cool climate, proximity to skiing, and historic downtown. But 2025 has brought a crime explosion that has shocked longtime residents who remember when leaving doors unlocked was completely normal. The combination of economic pressures, a housing crisis, and an influx of transient populations has created a perfect storm. Break-ins at vacation rentals and seasonal homes have become so prevalent that property management companies are struggling to maintain insurance coverage. Criminals know which homes are empty and when. They break in, steal valuables, and often cause significant damage. Owners who thought their mountain retreat was safe are finding out that Flagstaff is no longer the secure haven it once was. Downtown Flagstaff has seen a dramatic increase in assaults, often fueled by alcohol and drug use. The historic district that should be bustling with tourists and locals during evening hours now feels dangerous. Restaurants and bars are seeing fewer customers because people do not feel comfortable walking downtown after dark. The economic impact is hitting small businesses hard. The housing crisis in Flagstaff has contributed directly to the crime problem. When people cannot afford housing, they become desperate. Some turn to crime to survive. Others end up homeless and living on the streets, which creates its own set of public safety issues. Flagstaff does not have the infrastructure or resources to handle homelessness at this scale. The transient population brings additional challenges. People passing through town, seasonal workers, and tourists create an environment where criminals can operate without building a long-term profile. They commit crimes and leave before patterns emerge or investigations gain traction. Flagstaff police are dealing with a constantly shifting population that makes traditional law enforcement approaches less effective. Flagstaff used to be a place where community ties were strong and people looked out for each other. That social cohesion is breaking down. Neighbors do not know each other anymore. People are more suspicious and less willing to engage. The sense of community that made Flagstaff special is eroding under the pressure of crime and economic stress. The tourism industry that Flagstaff depends on is at risk. If visitors do not feel safe walking downtown, shopping in local stores, or staying in vacation rentals, they will go somewhere else. Arizona has plenty of mountain towns and tourist destinations. Flagstaff is not irreplaceable, and the crime problem is threatening its economic lifeblood. Property values in Flagstaff are complicated. The housing shortage keeps prices high, but the crime surge is making buyers hesitant. The result is a market where homes are expensive, but sitting longer before selling. Buyers want the mountain lifestyle, but they do not want the crime that now comes with it. That tension is creating uncertainty for anyone trying to buy or sell. Longtime residents feel like they are losing their town. The Flagstaff they remember, the one where you could leave your car unlocked and your bike on the porch, is gone. It has been replaced by a place where you need security systems, where you avoid downtown at night, and where you constantly worry about break-ins. That loss of identity is deeply painful for people who built their lives there. If you were thinking about Flagstaff for the mountain lifestyle, the cooler weather, or the proximity to outdoor recreation, you need to weigh those benefits against the crime reality. This is not the safe, friendly mountain town it was, even 5 years ago. The transformation has been rapid and severe, and there is no clear indication that things will improve anytime soon. Coming in at number 3 is Prescott Valley. This town was built as a retirement haven. Quiet streets, affordable housing, and a peaceful atmosphere attracted retirees from across the country. But 2025 has brought one of the most dramatic crime increases in Arizona, and the predominantly older population is feeling vulnerable and afraid. Burglars are specifically targeting seniors because they know many live alone. Seniors often keep valuables in their homes. They have jewelry, cash, and possessions accumulated over a lifetime. Criminals know this, and they are exploiting it. Break-ins happen during the day, when retirees are out running errands or at medical appointments. They come home to find their doors kicked in, and their most precious belongings gone. The emotional trauma is devastating. Prescription drug theft has become epidemic in Prescott Valley. Criminals break into homes specifically to steal medications that can be sold on the street. Opioids, anxiety medications, and other controlled substances are valuable on the black market. Seniors who depend on these medications for their health are left without them, creating both a safety issue and a healthcare crisis. The police force in Prescott Valley is small and overwhelmed. Response times have slowed dramatically. When seniors call 911, they wait longer for help to arrive. That delay can mean the difference between catching a criminal and letting them escape. It also means that seniors facing medical emergencies or immediate threats are not getting the rapid response they need. The sense among criminals is that they can operate with relative impunity in Prescott Valley. The town lacks the resources of larger cities. The police force is understaffed. The justice system is slow. Criminals commit crimes, get arrested if they are unlucky, and are often back on the streets quickly. The cycle continues because there are no real consequences. Retirees moved to Prescott Valley because they wanted peace and security in their later years. They worked their whole lives, saved their money, and chose this town specifically because it felt safe. The betrayal they feel now is profound. They are living in fear in a place that was supposed to be their sanctuary. Many cannot afford to move again, so they are trapped. The targeting of seniors is particularly cruel. These are not people who can easily defend themselves. They are often physically vulnerable, living alone, and unable to quickly recover from financial losses. When their belongings are stolen, they cannot just replace them. When their sense of security is shattered, it does not come back. The damage is permanent. Prescott Valley is seeing an exodus of residents who can afford to leave. Homes are going up for sale, but buyers are researching the crime statistics and backing out. The reputation of the town as a safe retirement destination is destroyed. That reputation took decades to build, and it has been lost in a single year of surging crime. Local organizations and community groups are trying to help. Neighborhood watch programs are forming. Churches are organizing security checks for vulnerable members. But these grassroots efforts cannot replace professional law enforcement. The problems Prescott Valley faces require resources, personnel, and a coordinated response that the town simply does not have. If you are a retiree considering Prescott Valley, you need to know that this is not the safe haven it was marketed as. The crime targeting seniors is real, frequent, and devastating. The police cannot protect you adequately, and the community that was supposed to feel like a safe retirement home now feels like a place where you are constantly at risk. At number 2, we have Lake Havasu City. This Colorado River resort town should be a paradise. Beautiful water, year-round sunshine, and a laid-back lifestyle attracted retirees and vacationers for decades. But 2025 has brought unexpected violence. Violent crime has spiked during both the busy summer season and the supposedly quiet winter months. The transformation has been shocking. The party atmosphere that brings tourists to Lake Havasu has also attracted criminal elements. Drug trafficking organizations are using the city as a distribution hub for the region. They blend in with the tourist crowds, use the river for transportation, and exploit the chaos of a town that swells with visitors during peak season. Law enforcement cannot keep up with the influx. Boat and watercraft thefts from marinas and private docks have cost owners millions of dollars. Boats are expensive assets, and losing one is financially devastating. Thieves are stealing boats in the middle of the night, trailering them away, and moving them out of state before owners even realize they are gone. Recovery rates are extremely low. Break-ins at shoreline vacation homes occur with disturbing regularity. These homes are often unoccupied for months at a time, making them perfect targets. Criminals break in, steal everything valuable, and sometimes cause extensive damage. Owners who thought their investment property was secure are finding out that Lake Havasu is not the safe vacation spot it used to be. Assaults and alcohol-fueled violence downtown have escalated to the point where many locals avoid the area entirely on weekends. The downtown corridor that should be the heart of the community has been ceded to an increasingly lawless tourist crowd. Bars and clubs attract people looking for trouble, and they find it regularly. Fights, stabbings, and shootings have become common. Local residents feel like they have lost their town. Lake Havasu used to have a community feel, even with the tourist traffic, but now it feels like a place where outsiders come to party, commit crimes, and leave. The people who live there year-round are dealing with the consequences while tourists move on to the next destination without a second thought. The drug trafficking presence is particularly concerning. When organized criminal organizations establish operations in a small town, they bring violence with them. Turf disputes, enforcement actions, and the general culture of the drug trade create danger for everyone. Lake Havasu does not have the law enforcement resources to take on drug cartels. Property values are holding up for now because the river location is desirable, but crime statistics are starting to scare away buyers. People research before purchasing vacation homes, and when they see the crime reports from Lake Havasu, many are choosing other river towns or lake communities. The economic impact will compound over time as the reputation spreads. The tourism economy that sustains Lake Havasu is at risk of eating itself. If the crime gets bad enough, families will stop coming. Retirees will sell their vacation homes. Businesses will close. The town could spiral into decline rapidly if the criminal element is not brought under control. But there is no clear plan for how to accomplish that with limited resources. If you were thinking about buying a vacation home in Lake Havasu, or retiring there for the river lifestyle, you need to understand that the safety situation has deteriorated dramatically. Boat theft is a real risk, property crime is rampant, and violent crime is escalating. The paradise image does not match the reality on the ground in 20. But number 1 is where everything changes. Casa Grande has experienced the most dramatic and concerning crime explosion of any Arizona town in 20. This used to be a quiet stop between Phoenix and Tucson, a place where nothing much happened. Now it is a genuine danger zone. The transformation has been rapid, violent, and absolutely terrifying for residents. Casa Grande sits along Interstate 10, and that location has made it a magnet for drug trafficking. Rival organizations are treating the town as contested territory. They are fighting for control, and that fight is spilling into neighborhoods. Residents report hearing gunfire regularly. Drive-by shootings have occurred in residential areas in the middle of the day. Children are being kept inside because parents do not feel it is safe to play outside. Property crimes have reached levels where many homeowners have simply stopped filing police reports. They know the understaffed department cannot do anything. They know their stolen property will never be recovered. They know no one will be arrested. So they stop reporting, and the official crime statistics do not even capture the full scope of the disaster. The actual situation is far worse than the numbers show. The violence is not abstract. It is immediate and personal. People are finding bullet holes in their walls. Cars are being shot up in driveways. Homes are being burglarized, while families sleep inside. This is not crime you read about in the news. This is crime that is happening to you, to your neighbors, and to people you know. The psychological impact is crushing. Property values have plummeted. Homes that were worth $300,000 2 years ago are now selling for $200,000 if they sell at all. Buyers are not interested in Casa Grande no matter how low the price goes. They research the crime statistics and immediately cross it off their list. Sellers are trapped, unable to get out without taking devastating financial losses. Businesses are fleeing Casa Grande. Retailers, restaurants, and service companies are closing locations and moving to safer areas. When businesses leave, jobs disappear. When jobs disappear, more people fall into poverty. When poverty increases, crime gets worse. Casa Grande is caught in a death spiral, and there is no clear path out of it. Longtime residents are selling their homes at a loss, just to escape. They are walking away from their communities, their neighbors, and their lives, because staying has become too dangerous. These are people who had roots in Casa Grande, who raised families there, who thought they would retire there. Now they are fleeing like refugees from a war zone. The drug trafficking element has brought a level of violence that small-town law enforcement is not equipped to handle. Casa Grande police are outgunned, outnumbered, and overwhelmed. They are brave and they are trying, but they cannot win against organized criminal networks with resources that dwarf the entire town budget. This is not a fair fight, and the criminals are winning. Casa Grande is becoming a cautionary tale about what happens when crime spirals completely out of control. It is a warning about the dangers of being located on major trafficking routes, without adequate law enforcement resources. It is proof that a town can fall apart in a shockingly short period of time, when the conditions align perfectly for criminal takeover. If you are considering Casa Grande for any reason, do not. The affordability is not worth it. The location between two major cities does not matter. This is the most dangerous town in Arizona right now, and it is getting worse every single day. Residents are living in fear, property values are destroyed, and there is no indication that help is coming. Casa Grande is a disaster, and you do not want any part of it.